Good morning, students. Last class we discussed about indicator power. What is the indicator power? Indicator power means the actual heat energy available after combustion of the fuel. Okay. So chemical energy to heat energy conversion. How much heat energy is? Next, brake power means from out of that heat energy, how much mechanical energy we produce. Means mechanical energy means rotation of the shaft. At a crankshaft, whatever the energy is available, whatever the power is available, energy per second is available. Then it is called brake power. What is the power available in the cylinder is called indicate power. Indicate power we are measuring by using generally in R&D labs indicator diagram based. Otherwise, we are measuring the brake power and friction power. Next, come to the brake power. We can use two types of the dynamometers: absorption dynamometers and this absorption dynamometers, and second one is uh, transmission dynamometers. So, brake power we can measure by using two types of dynamometers. Means we are measuring torque and angular velocity. We can calculate the brake power by using absorption dynamometer and transmission dynamometer. For R&D labs or continuation measurement of the brake power, we are using this transmission dynamometer. This is nothing but strain gauges, pair of strain gauges connected to the crankshaft. Then angular deformation we are measuring. So finally, we can measure the brake power. Different types of the absorption dynamometers, how we are calculating the brake power. General brake power equation is 2 pi nt. If you torque directly, they are not provided. You want to measure prony brake, you are measuring a rope drum, you are measuring hydraulic dynamometer or eddy current dynamometer. Based on the dynamometer, the torque equations will change. If torque directly they are providing is 2 pi nt. Next, today's class we will discuss about frictional power. Why? Because I want to determine the indicated power. I want to determine brake power and friction power. So, friction power means difference between indicated power and brake power. And the friction power almost invariable. At the manufacturing level, whatever the friction power they are giving, this much of the friction because the cylinder and rings, between cylinder liner and rings, whatever the friction is there, and the inertia of the weight of the moving parts, these all are fixed values, almost is same. So at design level friction power is there. If it is increasing the friction power means the cooling capacity, it will affect the cooling capacity, it will affect the lubrication capacity. Means if frictional resistance is increasing, means the friction power has to dissipation by the cooling system, dissipation by the lubrication system. So it will affect that capacities. So based on the design calculations, whatever the friction power we are losing, according to that the lubrication system and cooling system we are designing. If friction power is increasing after long run of the vehicle, then it is also affecting the all cooling system and lubrication system. Next, the measurement of the friction power. Generally, we are measuring the friction power. Different methods. Standard methods are William Line method, Morse test, motoring test, and retardation test. These are the four standard methods we are using. One benchmark method in laboratory level, indicated power measured by the indicator diagram, brake power measured by the transmission dynamometer, then the difference between the indicated power and brake power, continuously we can measure the friction power. That's why generally R&D labs only we are doing like that. Remaining testing labs, generally these four methods they are using. William Lines method, second one motoring test, third one Morse test, fourth one retardation test. First one William Lines method. Generally it is applicable for diesel engines, means constant speed vehicles. Generally we are applying Williams-Lines method for diesel engines, means compressed ignition engines. How we are calculating? Method I explained. The calculation you see, we are drawing graph between the specific fuel consumption and brake power. We are drawing graph between the specific fuel consumption and brake power and different loads. The specific fuel consumption will increase, different loads, different brake power output, different specific fuel consumption will come, and we are joining that points, maybe 5 points, 6 points, 10 points, 100 points, 200 points, different loads, we can get different power output and different specific fuel. Then we join the line. Generally it is a linear line, y equal to mx plus c, there is no issue. Then extend that line with the same slope. With the same slope, we are extending that line to the negative axis of x-axis. This brake power. X-axis is the brake power axis. The negative axis of brake power axis, where it is intersecting, that value only the friction power. The negative value is the friction. Williams-Lines method, if we are conducting full load condition, means it will give linear lines only with some slope. So it is easy to calculate the frictional power. Direct some linear line is coming. So we are drawing the linear line by using Excel, Microsoft Excel. If so many 100 points are there, you insert the linear line, y is equal to mx plus c, or some gradient, different slopes we are entering. The line will almost enter into nearer to the all stage points. That line only we are extending up to negative point. We will get the whatever the friction power is generated by the engine. At full load condition, it will give good readings. Yet suppose at no load condition or off load condition, some curvature it will come. Suppose we got like this curvature, then how we can extend this one? Different slopes are created. So in this condition, the frictional value we may get excess value. What is the actual, more than the actual value? By this calculation we will get more than the actual value. But full load condition and indirect injection engines, not direct injection engines. In indirect injection engines also means spiral chamber engines, air cell chamber engines, indirect injection engines. I already discussed in third unit, not third unit, second unit. Combustion chambers, CI engine combustion chambers. There we discussed. So indirect injection engines also linearity will get, and the actual accurate values we will get, the frictional accurate values. This is the simplest simple experiment. There is no special device is required for the performance test. Whatever the measuring equipments are there, with the same equipments we can determine the friction power. This is the, but it is applicable only diesel engines, not other engines. Coming to the Morse test. Generally, Morse test second type. First test we are only using for diesel engines. Coming to the Morse test, we are using multi-cylinder engines, not single cylinder. In multi-cylinder engine, I want to determine the friction power. Then I can use the Morse test. Simplest simple test. I will show the multi-cylinder engine. Then you will get the clear idea. Any type of engine. These are the 4 cylinders. Here dual inlet, dual outlet is there. DI engines, dual inlet, dual outlet engines. At present, DI engines are common for two wheelers also. Here, what we are doing, this is a 4 cylinder engine. At a specified load, specified speed, we are running the engine. It can use for SI engine, spark ignition engines and compression ignition engines. For both engines we can use this one. Suppose 150 RPMs are not 1500 RPM I am running the engine with some X load. 1500 RPM I am running the engine at no load, no problem. At 1500 RPM I am running the engine. At that time, whatever the brake power is generated from the engine, first I am marking that brake power 1500 RPM. I will mark the brake power by using any type of the absorption dynamometer or transmission dynamometer. You can measure the brake power. Then after, I will cut off the electrical energy supply to the spark plug or fuel supply to the injector. If CI engine, fuel supply to the injector, or it is a SI engine, electrical energy supply to the spark plug. I will cut off the supply to the one cylinder engine. I want to determine this cylinder frictional power, then uh, indicator power, not friction power. What I am doing, I will cut off the supply of first cylinder, then I will run the engine with these three cylinders. In what speed I am running? That earlier speed, earlier 1500 speed I am running the engine, same 1500 speed I will run the engine, then I will determine the brake power. The total brake power minus this three cylinders brake power is equal to indicated power of this first cylinder. It is clear. First I determine the total brake power. Very good. Then I will cut off the supply of first cylinder. Again I run the engine with the same speed, that first initial speed 1500 RPM. Then I determine the brake power of these three cylinders. So total brake power minus brake power of three cylinders, we will get the indicator power. Okay. Like that second cylinder, like that third cylinder, like that fourth cylinder. So 4 cylinders indicator power we are determining. Total indicator power minus total brake power equal to friction power. Okay. Simplest simple method. Total indicator powers. First cylinder we determine like that. Again second cylinder cut off the power supply. Third cylinder, next fourth cylinder. Total indicator powers minus total brake power. Already initial stage we calculated. Equal to, we will get the friction. This is the simplest simple method. This indicator power of first cylinder, which cylinder we are cut off. BP of total cylinder minus that cut off cylinder is equal to BP n minus 1. I think upon this one problem we will solve, then we will get the clear idea. This is the problem. A gasoline engine working on 4-stroke develops a brake power of 20.9 kilowatt. So this is a gasoline engine, this petrol engine or spark ignition engine, whatever the name we are calling. Working on 4-stroke, first thing, develops a brake power. So total brake power they given 20.9 kilowatt. A Morse test was conducted. We are conducted a Morse test on this engine, and the brake power obtained on the engine and the brake power obtained when each cylinder was made inappropriate by short circuiting the spark plug. I want to determine the first cylinder indicator power, means I am determining the remaining 3 cylinders brake power. So first one cut off, remaining 3 cylinders brake power will come. Second one cut off, remaining 3 cylinders brake power. Third one cut off, remaining 3 cylinders brake power. Fourth one cut off, remaining 3 cylinders brake power we are getting. 14.9, 14.3, 14.8, 14.5 respectively. The test was conducted at constant speed, I already mentioned. For total brake power or 3 cylinders brake power, you want to maintain same speed, constant speed. Find the indicator power and friction power. See, brake power when all cylinders are working 20.9. Brake power when one cylinder is inappropriate, 14.9. Brake power when second cylinder is inappropriate, 14.3. Brake power when third cylinder is inappropriate, 14.8. Brake power when fourth cylinder is inappropriate, 14.5. Determine the indicated power. Indicated power of first cylinder, brake power of 3 cylinders, 20.9 minus 40.9, 6 kilowatt. Indicated power of second cylinder, 20.9 minus 14.3, 6.6 kilowatt. Brake indicated power of third cylinder, 20.9 minus 14.8, 6.1 kilowatt. Next, indicated power of fourth cylinder is 20.9 minus 3 cylinder brake power, 14.5, 6.4 kilowatt. So total indicated power you can calculate. Indicated power 1, indicated power of cylinder 1 plus cylinder 2 plus cylinder 3 plus cylinder 4, then 6 plus 6.6 plus 6.1 plus 6.4, total 25.1 kilowatt. Subtract indicated power, total indicated power minus total brake power. At the starting of the problem itself they mentioned total brake power is 20.9 kilowatt. So you subtract 25.1 kilowatt, 25.1 kilowatt minus 20.9 kilowatt, you will get 4.2 kilowatt. So the friction power of 4 cylinder spark ignition engine is 4, means 4 kilowatt. 25 kilowatts of heat energy generated in the cylinder. Out of 25 kilowatt, 21 kilowatt only we used for useful energy, remaining is lost by the friction force. So I think with this example you understand very well compared to theoretical explanation. Then we will move to the motoring test. Next one, generally next third one is motoring test. Motoring test we can do any type of the engine, by multi-cylinder or single cylinder, for all application. But how we are doing the motoring test means, we are running the one motor is connected to the generator. Initially it will work as generator, later it will work as a motor. We are supplying electrical energy, then it will work as a motor. If we are rotating the shaft, then it will work as a generator. That motor is connected to the internal combustion engine. Then run the engine first at required speed and torque. Run normal after reaching the up to reaching the steady state, means the cooling water temperature reaching cooling water means cooling jacket water temperature maybe 80 degrees to 90 degrees. Engine body temperature is to 270, exactly not 270, 250 to 270, like that. Up to reaching normal steady state condition engine, we are running the engine that is connected to the motor. It will act as a generator, generating some electrical energy. Then we will cut off the power supply. Now engine in the normal running condition, steady state condition, operating parameters all are steady condition. Then you cut off the power supply. By using that generator, you run the motor for that normal speed, whatever the earlier speed is there, for the normal speed, no load condition, normal speed. Then how much electrical energy it is utilized? That electrical energy is the friction power. That is the minimum energy required to overcome the friction between cylinder and the inertia of the body, the moving components. That is the friction power. Simple. But for conducting this test, engine must be run in for attaining the steady state. We want to run the engine at least 20 minutes, 1 hour, like that. Then all engine cooling system, lubricating system, everything will come in the normal temperatures. The operating temperature. At that operating temperature, whatever the friction power is there, that friction power we are measuring by using the motoring test. Next, difference between indicated power, brake power I mentioned. By using the indicator diagram, you can measure the indicated power. By using the transmission dynamometer, you can measure the brake power. The difference between the indicated power, brake power, you will get the friction power. There is a quality. High accurate value means by using this method you will get the by accurate value, but R&D labs only perform that one. Next one, retardation test. Here retardation is retard the angular speed. At normal speed, you can see at no load, engine is running at 1500 rpm, suppose at no load. Then we will cut off the power supply. 300 rpm angular speed we are retarding. For the retardation of 300 rpm of angular speed, how much time it is taken at no load? First we will calculate at particular rpm. I am not rough value I am telling. Suppose 1500 rpm engine is running. I want to measure 300 rpm retarding. How much time it is taking? Then at 50% load, at 60% load, at 80% load, at 100% load, we will calculate that one, and by using simple equation we can calculate the frictional power. Retardation test also one of the best method for determination of the uh, frictional power. Generally motoring test, if properly we are doing, is motoring test we will give the higher frictional power value compared to Williams-Lines method. Williams-Lines method very cheap, easy, I already mentioned. For indirect injection engines means by Williams-Lines method we will get, but we can't use for petrol engines, it is applicable only diesel engines. For multi-cylinder engines, most test is good. For all types of engine, indicate power minus brake power is good. Okay. So with this, I am ending the frictional power. I already solved the problem upon the more stress. Remaining you can calculate. You practice yourself. Um, okay. Next class we will discuss about efficiencies. Now we are capable to measure the indicator power, brake power, friction. Then we can calculate the all types of the efficiencies, heat balance sheets, everything. Okay, we will meet next class. Thank you.